Hello and welcome to my channel Talisman Tarot. In this video I want to ask the cards and spirit directly through channeling about how your crush would describe you, if they could be completely honest and direct, if they were talking to someone that they could be completely honest and direct towards, how would they describe you to that person. I have 7 groups here that you can choose from. This will be group number 1, this will be group number 2, this will be group number 3, this will be group number 4, this will be group number 5, this will be group number 6, and this will be group number 7. And so I will ask you to use your intuition and choose the group that speaks to you the most, the group that catches your eye, and that group will be your group. And if you need any more time to choose, you can just pause the video. But if you don't need any more time, then just head down to the description box below and find the timestamp for your particular group and click on that, and your reading should appear in front of you. And while you're down there in the description box below, make sure to check out my guide on how to book a personal reading. I love doing personal readings for you guys. It's always a pleasure, so please check that out. And but let's focus on this reading right now. So pick your group and I'll see you in your reading. Hello, group number 1. You chose this Mops Tarot deck, and I'm gonna start with some channeling and then I'm gonna shuffle the cards for you. So I'm gonna do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 1? How would their crush describe them? Group number 1. How would their crush describe them? If someone they know very closely asked them to describe group number 1, how would they describe this person watching the video right now? How would their crush describe them? Okay, so I'm sensing that your crush would describe you in a very nice way. Like it's very it's a bit formal. So I don't know if this person seems to look up to you. Like this person, I was getting the word famous or something like that, that you're a bit, that you're famous, or that you're unattainable in some way, that it seems like you have this energy where it's like maybe you have some star quality to you or something. I think they would describe you as someone who's unattainable, someone who's like higher up the ladder than they are. But there's also some kind of message about that I'm getting, that I think like this person would describe you as a bit bratty too, like that you're a bit bratty. Maybe not that you're like spoiled rotten or something, but that you have something about you that seems like you know what you want, and you know what you deserve, that you don't take any shit from anyone, like that you're good at setting boundaries for yourself. You don't do anything unless you want to. You're good at putting limitations on people, especially people who expect too much from you. You're good at putting them in their place and telling them that this is not worth your time. So, yeah, I'm gonna shuffle some cards and see what the cards have to say about how your crush would describe you. With the Four of Cups, I think your crush sees you as someone who has high standards. You don't take shit from nobody. You're very good at you're very good at setting boundaries, and you're also good at picking and choosing what you want. Like you're good at making decisions. Like you're you might also have an opinion on what you want. Like if somebody asks you what you want for dinner, you might not be one of those who don't have an answer for that question, who just waits for the other person to decide for you. You're very decisive, and you have an opinion of what like you know what you want. And so and I think your crush has noticed that you're not that you're not one of those people who's constantly on the back burner. You're not constantly contemplating what you want. You're and you're also good at rejecting, like telling people this is not something you want to do. Like if there's some kind of team building exercise or something at work or at your school, you tell the people involved that you're not really into that sort of thing, and you would rather be excluded from it because it's not your thing. And I think your crush has noticed that that you don't just do just anything just because of peer pressure, just because it's what you're supposed to do or something like that. That you're good at standing up for yourself. You're good at good at rejecting what you don't want in your life, and maybe also good at rejecting certain people, like or not rejecting, but putting people at a distance, distancing yourself from people who you feel is not worth your energy, worth your time. Like if somebody is being like kind of psycho towards you and like testing you and provoking you, you would rather just walk away instead of humoring that behavior, entertaining that behavior. You just want to go away and not let the person get the satisfaction of getting you to play along. And I think your crush finds that very respectable, that you have the ability to do that, or that you have the respect for yourself to do that, because I think maybe your crush is one of those people who would rather just play nice with everyone, just so that there's no conflict. Like maybe your crush is a bit of a maybe a people pleaser in a way, and I think he or she just sees you as like awesome for being able to stand up for yourself, being able to walk away, and I think, but there's also this part where maybe sometimes your crush maybe sees it as a bit too much, where they feel like maybe it's like maybe you could actually participate in some things, in some of the things that you say no to, that somehow I think your crush would wish that you participated more. Maybe also to make the situation more like better for them, like that they are, because this person is always stuck in situations that they don't want to be in, and so so I think they see you as like taking the easy way out, and that it's a bit of a cop out, and that in a way they wish they could do the same as you, but they feel like if they did it, they wouldn't get away with it in the same way as you're getting away with it, because you have a different energy than they have, and they feel like they can't really set those boundaries themselves, because that would be too noticeable, and people wouldn't just let them do that. Like they would start questioning them, and they would so I think there's also this there's something about your crush here. Like I think your crush would maybe describe you as someone who gets special treatment, maybe that you claim special treatment in some way, where maybe they feel like it's a bit unfair, because what makes you so special that you can get away with saying no to team building exercises that everybody else are forced to do, despite them not actually wanting to. And so but of course they could just do the same as you, and I think there's no unfairness here. I think you just claim what is rightfully yours. Like you have a choice in life. You can actually set boundaries, because it is your life and it is your choice. If you don't want to do something, nobody can force you to, and that's your human right. Like so with the Six of Swords, yeah, I think your crush would describe you as someone who who walks away, someone who like every time there's a conflict or something, then you just walk away from the stormy waters into calmer waters. Like you don't stay in a situation that's extremely uncomfortable just for the sake of it. Like you would rather just walk away, and I think there's a part of like I'm sensing that a part of your crush feels like this is your biggest strength, but there's another part of your crush that feels like this is also a weakness. That this is something that they feel like is like, but it's mostly because of their own, like, the fact that they are then, like, that they are left to deal with it on their own. And so I don't know if you're close with your crush, but I feel like your crush actually wants you to stay and not leave. And so I feel like there's some annoyance that you're just leaving, that every time things kind of start to get interesting, you walk away. And like there's a part of this person that, like, I was kind of sensing that this person was a people pleaser before, but I feel like there's also another side of this person where I actually think this person kind of enjoys the drama in a way, and so they stick around also just to witness all the drama. Like they don't want to walk away, because what's the fun in that? And so I think they feel like maybe like maybe stay a bit, like sometimes, like even though it's uncomfortable, like maybe you've been to a party with this person and you went home early, and I think this person felt like that was a bit of a shame, because they would have wanted you to stay a bit longer so that they could actually get to know you. I'm also sensing that your crush might be the type of person who really starts to get to know people when they are maybe a bit kind of very drunk. Like they need to be very drunk in order to be like chatty. They might not be that chatty when they are sober, and so I think maybe if you go home early from a party, you're not actually getting to, like, you're not witnessing the social version of your crush, the chatty version of your crush. And I think your crush would actually like to show you that side of them. But yeah, I think I think your crush would describe you as someone who who they know in a formal sense, because they haven't gotten to know you deeper, and they want to, but it's like every time things get deep, it's like something happens, or you walk away, or you have to do something else, or like there's always, like, I think your crush feels like they always see your back all the time. Like they never see your front, they always see your back, because you're always leaving. So I'm gonna shuffle some of these Gypsy oracle cards. So haughtiness. So I think they see you as I think they see you as someone who's very attractive. That you, but that you, I'm sensing that they would describe you as someone who's very attractive, but it's like you don't even know it. That you're not. That you don't seem to be fully aware of the looks that you get from people, like that you don't seem to notice, that people are actually very interested in you. And maybe there's also been some incidences where people have been flirting with you, and maybe your crush has been flirting with you at some point, where you just seem to be completely oblivious that it was going on, like that you didn't notice that somebody was flirting with you. And I think your crush would describe you as someone who seems to not really realize when people give you attention, when people start a conversation with you. It has a lot to do with the way you look, and that is the opener, like the like the hook that drags people in, like that you have that you're kind of a centerpiece, but you don't even realize it, like. And that also, it's like you don't even realize that people actually get really sad when you leave. Like that you are actually some kind of center of attention when you go to a party, or when you go to even a team building exercise or something like that. You seem to be actually the glue that keeps people together, and that you actually make people around you very comfortable, and that there's something about you where, like, when you suddenly leave, people get a bit upset, because it's like the main character just left, like that you're kind of an important person, and people get upset when you leave. People talk about it when you leave. But people don't seem to talk to you directly about it. Like they don't like. But they talk to each other about it, and talk about how like why did you leave, or how did I think you're also very good at sneaking your way out, like that it's like you tell people that you're going to the toilet and then they never see you again. That you seem to have like this, that you're a bit of a ghost, where it's like once you're there, and like the next moment you're not, like you're and people don't even notice that you're gone, and then they ask, like, where are you, like where did you go, or like and then they get upset that you left already, and I feel like your crush feels like they couldn't, like even if they want to, like they can't actually just sneak out the back door in the same way as you do it. Maybe because your crush is very tall, or very big, or like there's something about them that like they can't just sneak out, because people will notice. And so they feel like you have an advantage there, because you can actually just sneak out and nobody notice. So yeah, I'm gonna shuffle some of these archetype cards just to get a bit more information on how your crush describes you. So, okay, yes, this makes complete sense. Destroyer, the card says, releasing what is potentially destructive, preparing for a new life. And so I think yeah, I think your crush would describe you as someone who's very good at releasing bad energy out from your life, releasing things that are not serving you anymore, releasing people who are not like who are not serving you anymore, or who are not being kind to you or not being considerate. Like maybe you have some friends who are not like friends, who are not really friends, but who are like just who acts like your friends, and then like as soon as you actually contact them, or like as soon as you want something from them, then they just disappear out of the blue. And I think you're very good at releasing the people who are just wanting, like who just want something from you, and who are just using you for something, like maybe using you just because you have a car and so they need a ride or something, and you can tell who are the fakes and who are the real ones. And I think your crush has noticed that you don't take any bullshit from anyone. You're very good at protecting yourself from the people who just takes advantage of you or abuses your trust, and just people who are disloyal to you and doesn't seem to actually want a like a like people who just want something without actually wanting to sacrifice anything for the friendship, but only wants to take and take and take without giving anything back. Yeah, I think your crush has noticed that you are very good at you're good at protecting yourself from people who could potentially hurt you, or and yeah, but that you are also good at releasing things from your life, out of your life, that aren't serving you anymore, like things like maybe you've talked to your crush about like maybe dropping like alcohol or like something like that, just because it's not giving you anything good, like it's not adding anything good into your life, like or something like that, where I think your crush sees you as someone who's very good at rejecting the things that are harming you. Like you're good at really feeling what's good for you and what's not, and that you have a good sense of what of yourself, and just a good self-awareness too. Like I think you're also you might have talked to your crush about something about self-development, or taking some kind of self-development course, or maybe they have seen it on social media or Instagram or something, where you might have posted a picture or posted something from an event that you were at, that might have been about like self-development, self-care, self-help, something like that. And I think your crush like that you take care of yourself, you're taking care of your body, mind and soul. And yeah. But I think that's all I have for you, group number 1. I hope this reading was helpful. And if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 2. You chose this Tarot Cats tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 2, the people who will choose group number 2? How would group number 2's crush describe group number 2? If group number 2's crush were talking to someone very close to them, how would their crush describe group number 2 to that person? I'm getting something about handy and nifty, like that your crush would describe you as someone who's very good with your hands, very good at like arts and crafts, very good at maybe knitting or crocheting or embroidery or something like that. That you have some kind of hobby, or maybe numerous hobbies that have to do with creating something, like creating clothing or blankets or something. And I think your crush would describe you as someone who has a lot of hobbies, like that you're maybe you also have a lot of different hobbies, different things that you like to do in your spare time. And I'm sensing that your crush would maybe describe it as grandma hobbies, like things that grandmothers usually do, or like knitting or cooking or baking, or like that that you that you seem very homey, also like very cozy. But I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about how your crush would describe you. So, with Death, I think your crush would describe you as someone who's very transformative. Like you might shift your hobbies like every new moon or something like that. Like you go from one thing to another very quickly, and then then maybe you learn how to knit, and then you do that for a few months, and then you might get tired of that, and then you start painting or something. And that maybe like whenever you change your hobby, like when people then ask you about like the other hobby you used to have, you might have like this tendency to not want to talk about that, because now you're into this thing, and now that is your whole personality, or that's your whole life, and or maybe not that extremely, but like but I think maybe your crush sees you as someone who changes from one thing to the next without looking back. Like you're not you kind of just want to forget about that period of your life where you were interested in that sort of thing, because now you've moved on, you've transformed, you've evolved into something else. And maybe you don't want to talk about the past that much, like you don't want to talk about who you were in the past. Like maybe you also had some awkward phases before, like maybe you, like when you were a teenager, if your crush knew you back then, maybe they have seen pictures on Instagram or on Facebook or something, but maybe they have been kind of stalking your social media and looked through some old pictures, and they might have seen that you have had some periods where you were maybe a bit like goth or emo, or had like a lot of eyeliner, or wore like heavy metal t-shirts, and where maybe that you had like this, that back then that was your thing, and now you are maybe not like that anymore, but maybe your crush has tried to talk about that with you, or like I don't know if it resonates with all of you, or but I feel like for some of you, your crush might have mentioned like that you used to be like that 10 years ago or something like that, and you might have kind of like turned it down, or like been a bit hostile towards, or not hostile, but you just might not have wanted to get further into that conversation. Like you might have changed the subject. You didn't really want to talk about that time of your life. So I think they see you as someone who's just who moves on very quickly, doesn't look back. So with the King of Pentacles, I think your crush might see you as someone who wears hats, or different hats. If you don't wear hats, then I think this is symbolic, that you wear a lot of different hats, that you maybe change your personality a bit according to what you're doing. Like if you're at your job, you put a professional hat on, and then you're just professional and serious, and you don't want to joke around because you're on the clock, and you don't you just want to get things done, and or something like that. And so maybe your crush has seen you at work, or I don't know, but like I feel like they have noticed that you're very different when you're playing a different role. Like when you're, like if you're a mother, you might behave differently around your child, because then you're playing the role as the mother, and like when you're at the job, you're a different person. When you're at school, you might be different. So, and when you're with your crush, you might be different. Like that you have a lot of hats that you navigate through. Maybe they feel like they can't really get a sense of who you are in all of this, that you're playing all these roles, and they don't really know which version of you is the authentic you. So they might have a hard time describing you to other people. If they were asked to describe you to someone who close to them, I think they would be open enough and honest enough to tell that person exactly what they think of you. And I think they would say that they like you, but they don't feel like they know the real you. Like they want to get under the surface. They want to know what hides underneath all the what hides underneath the mask, like that you seem to have a mask on, and it's a bit difficult to really tell what is an act and what is actually truly you. So I'm going to shuffle some of these Gypsy oracle cards just to get a bit more information on how your crush would describe you. Okay, so with the scholar card, I think they see you as someone who's very good at learning. Like, you're very good at learning a new skill, you're very good at learning a new topic, like you're very good at acquiring knowledge. You're like a sponge, like you just get, like, it's just easy for you to learn new things. And that's probably also why you learn a lot of different things, like and like why you get these different interests, and then you shift them after like a short time. It's maybe because like then like it's maybe just easy for you to learn, and then you get bored with it because it's not challenging anymore, and then you just move on to something more challenging. But yeah, I think they see you, this person sees you as very talented, very smart, a fast learner. Maybe that you learn a bit like things that you might learn things on a surface level, or that you don't go very deep into whatever your like whatever hobby you get. Like you might not get too deep into it because you're moving too quickly towards the next thing. But I feel like your crush feels like that, like if you actually found like one thing and just did that thing for 10 years straight, like then you could become the best in the world. Like but it doesn't seem like that's something that interests you, and I get that. Like, who wants to like get who wants to be the best at anything? Like sometimes it's also just very like it's also a big achievement to get like to learn like 1,000 things on a surface level to the point where you can do it, like acquiring a skill like knitting, or like I wouldn't have to become like an expert at knitting. I like if I don't know how to knit, by the way, but like if I acquired that skill one day, I think I would probably just do it until I can do it, and then I probably wouldn't go further into it, because there's no point in getting like to some kind of expert level, or like do it like better than anyone else. Like that wouldn't seem like something that's so important for me to. So I guess that's I don't think that's important for you either. Like if I can be so blunt, but I think it isn't. Like maybe it could be nice to be able to knit really, really fast, but like when would that even be? Like when would that come in handy, really? Like, but I don't know. it's like it's a good flex, I guess, but is it more than that though? Because like if you're making a sweater, like you can do it in two weeks, or you can do it for longer. Like, but what's the rush really? Like, nobody's in a rush. Like, people can wait, and good things come to those who wait. And so, but yeah. But that's a sidetrack. But with this card here, conversation reversed, I'm sensing that maybe your crush feels like they haven't really talked very deeply with you. They haven't like had like a proper conversation with you. So maybe a lot of the information that they have on you is actually things that they have acquired on the internet, things they have learned because they looked through your Facebook or Instagram. And so maybe they feel like they haven't gotten a lot of information, like first-hand information from you, like like directly from the source, like that they have gone through maybe social media or other people, like they might have asked other people about you, and they have maybe told their version of you, which might have been a bit different than the version that they feel like they know of you. And so I think that is also what's creating the confusion, is that this person hasn't actually asked you directly, like, who are you? Like, and so they haven't gotten your version. They have just gotten different versions from people that might not even know you that well. And so so to compare that with social media, like if you have an Instagram, you might post a lot of like pictures of your hobbies or something like that, and maybe they have seen that, and so they think of you as someone like that, and like someone with those interests, and then they might have talked to a friend of yours or a colleague or classmate of yours, and that person might have told them that you're someone who's very much into heavy metal, and that you're a bit raw and edgy and something like that, and then they felt like that was a bit weird because like they've seen your Instagram, and your Instagram is like filled with grandma hobbies and wholesome content, and cozy, fuzzy, homey pictures, and that they couldn't really see how those things came together. I feel like there's just that sort of confusion going on. It might not be exactly that example, but something close to that. So I'm gonna shuffle some of these archetype cards just to get a bit more information on and how your crush would describe you. Okay, Destroyer. So I think your crush, this card, it says releasing what is potentially destructive, preparing for a new life. And so I think they see you as, it kind of goes hand in hand with death. I think your crush sees you as someone who just might walk away from something, and then you start something new. Maybe you have started different types of education, like because, and maybe you started one education, but then you felt like it wasn't really you, and then you moved on to something else, or changed your major to something else, something that was more fitting to you, and then maybe you even changed it another time, and maybe a third time, fourth time, or something like that. And so I think they see you as someone who's very good at like going at releasing the things that aren't serving you anymore. That you're good at making the choice to like walk away if you don't feel like you're interested in the topic anymore. Like if you're studying something or working at something that just doesn't fit you or doesn't feel right for you, you're good at moving on to something else. And I think they would describe you as someone who's also very fearless, because I feel like your crush sees it as very, very bold and courageous to go from one education to another. Just the one shift seems like something your crush would see as quite courageous. Maybe they have done it one time. Maybe your crush has actually switched major one time, and just doing it one time was a horrible experience for them. And so if you have done it a few times, I think they find that very, very, very admirable, because it's like you're doing something that was traumatic for them to go through. Because one thing is being the new kid, like the new the new person in a class, like that's scary. But like being the new kid plenty of times, like multiple times, it is not for everyone. It's hard for some people to just imagine having to go through that, and having to explain to people why you changed majors, why you went from one thing to the other, why you left, and like having to explain that to your previous classmates why you left the class, first of all, and then having to explain to the new class that you're going into why you're there, like why you switched, why you changed your major, like that. So I think your crush sees you as very courageous for going through that process, not just one time, but maybe even more times. And so yeah, so I think your crush would describe you as very fearless, someone who's like who doesn't seem to be afraid of anything, someone who just walks into like a new journey, a new endeavor, like head first, and like you don't get scared off easily. And you're always up for a new challenge. Like you never get discouraged from learning something new. Like you always know it is gonna be fine. Like you're not scared of starting a new education. And I think like some people, like if they sign up for a math class or something like that, they get scared because they feel like, oh, I'm never going to be able to finish this because it's so hard. But I think your crush sees you as someone who doesn't get scared in that way. Like you always know it's going to be fine. Like it doesn't have anything to do with that. Like the reason why you change majors and stuff like that, it's because you're indecisive. It's because you want to try something before you make a decision whether you want to move forward with it. Like, but it's more like because you want to find that one thing that fits, the one thing that feels right for you. It's not because you get discouraged. It's not because it's too hard for you. It's not that is not the thing that scares you away. It's more like your own sense of like whether you feel like you belong, whether you feel like your intuition is telling you that it's right or wrong, like that you're more listening to yourself, listening to what you want to do, and so it's never a matter of like whether you can do it. It's more whether you want to. And I think your crush sees that as like a bit of a third world problem, or like a bit, not a third world, a first world first world problem, like that it's like this luxurious thing where it's a luxury to be able to just do anything, that you can just do anything, and so the whole world is open to you, like you there's no limitations to what you can do, and so your problem is more that like you have too many options. Whereas I think maybe your crush feels like they don't actually have that many options, and it's more like because they don't feel like they can actually do everything in the world. Like they can't do calculus, they can't do like advanced physics, like they can't do that. So that's out of the question. That's not something they are even gonna try, because they know before they even try, they know it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna. They are not gonna get through it. Like they are gonna fail all the exams. So there's no point in going into that. But for you, like there's nothing you couldn't actually pass at. Like you seem to be very just good at everything you do. Like so the whole world is very open to you. And so yeah, yeah, but so yeah, but I think that's all I have for you, group number 2. I hope this reading was helpful. And if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose this Influence of the Angels Tarot. And I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle these cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 3? The people who will choose group number 3. How would their crush describe them? Like if someone close to them asked them to describe group number 3, how would they describe group number 3? The person watching who chose group number 3, the people who chose group number 3, how would their crush describe them to someone they know closely and that they can be completely honest towards? Okay, so I'm sensing that this person would describe you as sarcastic, someone who makes a lot of jokes, someone who might use self-deprecating humor sometimes. That you might use humor as a defense mechanism. That sometimes you use, like sometimes you say a joke just to get out of an uncomfortable situation, or get rid of awkward silence or something like that. That you find something silly to say, or something that, and sometimes like this person feels like maybe it's like maybe you're more focused on the quantity of the jokes instead of the quality. That sometimes you might make some dad jokes, and like it's a bit like it's a bit hit and miss sometimes, like it always is. Like so that maybe sometimes it's a bit like sometimes you might tell some jokes that are very they are funny, but in a stupid way, like in a very silly way. And like it's funny also that sometimes the jokes are so bad that they are just automatically very funny because they are so bad. And it's like and I think I think your crush would describe you as a jokester, like someone who's maybe a bit hard, like that you're a bit hard to it's hard to get to know you because you're a bit of a mystery, because you hide a bit behind humor. So I feel like your crush doesn't truly know who you are on the inside, because it's like you're maybe putting on a mask as this funny guy, funny girl, or funny person. But what else? How else would your crush describe you? Group number 3. Irony, like that you use irony, that you're that maybe you use irony a bit too much, where where you might use it a bit as a weapon too, where sometimes it gets maybe a bit negative, and so I feel like maybe your crush feels like sometimes you're using it in a snarky way. So I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about what your crush, how your crush would describe you. Okay, so Ace of Pentacles. So I think your crush would describe you as very very down to earth. You're very like, you're maybe a bit realistic, to the point where you're maybe also using realism as some kind of scale that you might calculate other people with, like that you have realism as like the some kind of breaking point, or like where you break people off whenever they get their heads too high up in the clouds. That you might have like this annoyance with people who are too full of themselves, people who are like talking very lofty about their high ambitions and high dreams, and or big dreams, like that like when people talk about how they want to like be the next big superstar, or that they are gonna be a millionaire in a few years or something like that, or that they are gonna like that kind of rubs you the wrong way, and maybe you have told your crush or said to your crush that you just can't deal with a person right now, someone maybe in your circle or of friends, like someone who's around you a lot, who keeps talking about some really unrealistic dreams of like, or very high thoughts of themselves, like how they like maybe they talk very unrealistically about themselves in the present sense, like or present tense, like that it's like that they talk about how they are, like they might describe themselves as an astronomer, even though they haven't actually, like they have no degree in it, or that they talk about themselves as like a model, even though they've never done any modeling, or that they have just done some like amateur modeling, and then they write on their Instagram that they are a model. And I think those things rub you the wrong way. It makes you kind of annoyed, and with good reason though. But I think your crush, I think your crush has overheard you talk about this, or maybe you talked to your crush about someone that did that, and I feel like your crush feels like you should cut that person some slack a bit, or that you're maybe being a bit negative, or that there's nothing. I feel like maybe your crush feels like there's nothing wrong with having a high image of yourself, like a high self-image, like that not everyone is as humble as you are, and that you should realize that you're setting people up to fail when you have these high standards. Even though I don't think your standards are that high, but I feel like maybe your crush doesn't really understand why you feel the need to bash down, like that maybe this person, the person that you might be like talking about behind their back, someone you might have like an opinion about, like maybe you don't say it to their face though. Maybe there's also that sort of factor where I feel like maybe your crush sees you as someone who likes to gossip, or that you might talk to people in a different way than you talk about them, like behind their back. That it's a bit that you play that you're very nice towards everyone, but it's kind of a mask that you put on, or like that you're not actually especially the person that you're talking about, like the model who's not a model, or the whatever, who's not like who's not what they say they are. Like when you talk about them, I feel like your crush feels like you would never say that directly to their face. Like you keep that like. And I think maybe that makes your crush feel like you're a bit two-faced. But I also feel like your crush might kind of understand like that person on some kind of level, like the person that you're talking shit about. That maybe they kind of understand this positive mindset thing, where they understand that sometimes you need to act like you're a model in order to become a model, that sometimes you need to sell yourself on your resume as something you're not, because that's the only way you're gonna get a job, is by telling people that you are already what they are searching for. And so I feel like maybe they see it as more of a business tactic or something like that, and so they kind of get it, but they also understand that it's a bit cringy that someone is acting like they are something they're not. But yeah. So with the Queen of Wands and King of Wands, I think your crush feels like maybe you two are actually quite alike, you and your crush, which is maybe why you can kind of gossip with them. But I feel like because I feel like for some of you, you actually do gossip with this person, with your crush, like that you have a sort of an honest or very free relationship where it's very open. You can have like open conversation with them, and you can talk shit about other people with this person. Like you can get away with it. But I feel like maybe your crush sees you as they see themselves in you, and they see kind of the parts of themselves that they don't really like, and that is maybe because this person is a bit snarky and maybe a bit catty and a bit gossipy and has those tendencies, and maybe they also use humor as a defense mechanism themselves, and so they know they feel like they understand you on a deeper level. Because they understand where it's coming from, but I think they feel like maybe you two are a bit too alike, and that like when you get together, you have a good time, but they feel a bit. They feel a bit ashamed afterwards, or they feel bad afterwards. Like there's something about them, like that they feel like they've done something bad. Like you're their partner in crime, but it's not it makes them like, it's good when they talk to you, like when they have that when they are in that bubble with you, it's very nice. They feel very amused, very entertained, and they laugh and they have a very good time. But then they get home and then they feel bad because they badmouthed some people that they actually kind of care about in a way, and maybe they feel a bit dirty because they've talked shit about people that they kind of feel a bit bad about, and maybe they feel like these people that you two make fun of, that they might not be able to, like, that they aren't there to defend themselves, of course, but that they also that this person also feels like you're maybe bashing on you two together are maybe bashing on some people who actually can't who can't do anything about the way that they behave, like that it's kind of not in their control, that maybe they are a bit limited and maybe they feel immoral, or that it's immoral to make fun of people who are maybe a bit mentally disabled, or or I don't think they are mentally disabled, but I think this person kind of categorizes them as maybe a bit on the more there's something wrong with them, and so maybe it's not right to actually make fun of people who are not really all that right, like or not really not really there, like in a, I don't know, but I feel like this person likes to gossip with you. They like to make fun of other people with you. They enjoy it because it's fun, because you're also very good at it. You're both very good at it, but they feel like you're definitely very good at saying funny things about people, and like and saying it in a way where it's just hilarious, making fun of people's outfits and making fun of people's like some people that you used to go to high school with, who now is like, who used to be bullies and now they are like very like very sad people with very sad lives. And that is also that I kind of like, I get it that it's fun to kind of laugh at people's misery, but and especially if it's people who actually kind of deserve it. But I think your crush just feels a bit dirty for making fun of people's misfortune. So there's that thing. And so I think this person is very entertained by you. They like to spend time with you, but they wish that you could have some kind of other relationship, like other that you could maybe meet up and talk about something else, like that they feel like that is the only thing you two can actually talk about, is talking bad about other people. So I'm gonna shuffle some of these Gypsy Oracle cards to get a bit more information on how your crush would describe you. Group number 3. Okay, so with cheerfulness reversed, I think they feel like maybe you're a bit negative, and maybe that you get very negative together, like, and it's not only you, it's them too. Like they see that they are a part of the problem. They know that they are like, it's 50-50. They know that they are exactly just as negative as you are, but it's like when you two get together, it's just like it just escalates a bit. And with the Prison card reversed, I feel like your I feel like they see you as someone who should like they feel a bit like it's a bit of a crime. Like they feel like whenever they are around you, like the things that you talk about, the people that you talk about, how you talk about them, it seems a bit like it shouldn't be legal to talk shit about people in that sense. That there should be limitations. and that when you two are together, you give each other too many liberties to just take it further, like take the joke further and further along, like that you and they know that they are doing it too, but it's like the joke just like it could have ended at some point, but it's like you both just keep taking it further and further into the dark side, and yeah, I think they feel a very deep connection with you. They just would wish that it was a bit more positive. With a young woman reversed, I feel like this card, like when it's upright, this card makes me think of purity. And when it's reversed, it makes me think of impurity, or like, and I think your crush would probably describe you as someone who's a potty mouth, like that you're maybe also someone who swears a lot, someone who curses a lot, someone who someone who might say a lot of bad words, maybe also describe people with some bad words too, like calling some people a bitch because you tell it like it is. Sometimes people are bitches, but I think this person might feel like maybe the tone could be more proper, more pure, like I think this person just feels like you've bonded over a common denominator, and that common denominator is the dark side. That you both have the dark side, and this is where you two just belong together, is because this is like you both have the same sense of humor. You both have this kind of like you're both really good at making fun of other people, and you both have this great rationality where it's like and I think they especially see that in you, though, that you have this, like you're so good at judging other people's behavior, criticizing people's behavior, because you have a high standard, first of all, but you also have a very good moral compass, just not when you talk shit about people, because that's of course not, but it's also like you're very good at seeing when people are behaving in a way that they're not supposed to. When people go, like, you have a very good sense of the norm, how people are supposed to act, and whenever people fall next to the norm, like in between the, like, or falls into this gutter, like underneath the norm, like where but when people fall a bit, how do you say that, like when they fall whatever, but when people don't fit the norm, how people are usually acting, or then you call it out, like you don't call it out, you talk about it behind their back. But I think you're very good at like seeing, observing and analyzing people's behavior, and also psychoanalyzing people, and like coming up with explanations to why people might be behaving in a certain way, and maybe you also have a bit of a tendency to give people diagnoses, like observing their behavior, analyzing their behavior, and coming up with a conclusion that maybe they are suffering from a narcissistic personality disorder, because why else would they be so self-absorbed or obsessed with their image, or like their portrayal on social media and all of that, like and yeah, that and I feel like your crush sees you as someone who's very good at that. Like you're very but maybe you're also a bit too good at like or maybe a bit too strict within the norm, that maybe you could actually maybe accept some types of behavior as just people being people, and people aren't flawless. A lot of people make mistakes, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they suffer from this or that, but it's of course fun to talk about, but it's maybe like, I feel like this person just feels a bit like maybe you could talk about politics or philosophy or religion or something else and even TV shows, like, or movies, or like talking about something else than the people, the stupid people in your life, like so yeah, but I think that's all I have for you, group number 3. I hope this reading was helpful. Don't get me wrong, like, this person feels a strong connection with you. I think they would just rather connect with you on a different, like in a different way, where they want to test it and see if you two actually can talk about something else. That they don't want this to be just like that this relationship is a one-trick pony where it's like only one thing works. They want to see if it can be like more, have more facets to it, like, and so yeah. But I think that's all I have for you. Have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 4. You chose this Sola Busca tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So, Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 4? The people who will choose group number 4. How would their crush describe them? How would group number 4's crush describe group number 4 if they were talking to someone that they know very well, like someone very close to them, someone they can be completely honest to? If they were talking to someone like that, and that person would ask them to describe group number 4, how would they describe group number 4? How would their group number 4's crush describe group number 4? I'm sensing that there's like there's parts of you where this person feels like you're next level. Sometimes you might talk about something that where it's like your crush doesn't really follow, like they can't really follow what you're talking about. So I feel like there's some I don't know if you haven't talked to this person, like if you haven't had a deep conversation with your crush, where you talked about philosophy or like something very, very complicated. If that's not the case, then I think maybe they have seen something you posted on social media, like some kind of like some long paragraph or something where you explained something in detail, or like very something very complicated. And I think they just felt like they couldn't really understand parts of it because they didn't have the right knowledge to understand it. Like they felt a bit stupid actually, because they felt like they couldn't follow what you were saying. So I think this person sees you as very smart, like a bit philosophical sometimes, or like a bit too smart sometimes, but that's also like proof, that serves like proof to this person that you're next level, like you're a level above them in your knowledge, and like that you have knowledge that this person doesn't have. You have analytical skills that this person hasn't acquired in the same way. Like there's just something where like they just can't really follow you, because it's like your next level. But this person might but this comes from a place of maybe insecurity. So yeah, I don't think you should necessarily read too much into this, but I feel like maybe this person has felt like you were a bit arrogant sometimes, or like I think they would describe you as a little arrogant, like that you're. But I feel like it's because like you say some things, like you talk to people without thinking of the level that they are at, that you just talk to everyone at the same level. You just expect everyone to follow, because you feel like it would be arrogant for you to talk down to people like that, and like simplify it just because you feel like the other person isn't smart enough to understand what you're saying. Like that's also an insult in a way. So you can't really win with people. Like so if you actually simplified what you were saying, and and made it less complicated, used smaller words, more understandable words, didn't use as many like academical terms and stuff like that, then I actually think this person would even find you even more arrogant, because then they would see through it and see that you were acting like or that you were talking to them as if they were an idiot. So I think you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. So yeah. But I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about how your crush would describe you. Okay. So with the star reversed, I feel like this person would describe you as someone who who's very hopeless in a way. Like there's something about maybe you're a very realistic person, and so I think this person would describe you as very like very down to earth, very realistic, but also like that you're very humble. Of course, that makes no sense with the arrogance, but I think the arrogance is more coming from a place of them just being just being a bit embarrassed that they don't understand fully everything you say. But I think the humbleness is probably from you saying that, oh, you're not that good at something, and then like you ace an exam. Like before an exam, you might say to people that, oh, you haven't studied, oh, you don't know anything, oh yeah, you're gonna fail the exam because you haven't read all the books and you haven't done all the homework and you're not really prepared for it, and then you just get an A. Like, and I think this person feels like you're just putting up a front. Like you're actually not truly, like they feel like you're a bit of a phony for doing this, because it's like they know very well that you're actually very well prepared, that it's all just something you say to people, and so yeah. So with the Two of Wands reversed, I feel like this person okay, so what I actually thought about when I saw this this card like right now is that, or the thing that I focused on is that this person has a very small penis, and it's reversed. So I feel like there's some something about you having a big dick energy, and of course if you're a woman it still applies, because it's like I think you exude some kind of like energy where you're not trying to impress anyone. Like you're not even though you talk in big terms and all of that, you're not, your whole existence does not circle around approval. Like you don't really seem to care about people's approval. You're not living for other people's opinions of you. Like you're very good at just distancing yourself from naysayers and haters and people who don't appreciate what you do. You're very good at just saying like you don't find any reason to humor them or entertain them, and by going into a conversation with them. Like if somebody has a different opinion than you tell them your opinion and you listen to their opinion. But if they want to have some kind of fight with you about it, you would just rather just walk away, because you've said you've said what you needed to say. You've made your point, and then there's really no reason to discuss it any further. And you're maybe the type of person who says like let's agree to disagree. Like we don't have to we don't have to end up with the same opinion. Like we can actually have different opinions and still get along. And so I think this person feels like you're you're not competing against other people. Like this person might be more competitive in their nature. Like they compete against people. They want to be the one who comes out on top. Like they want to win a discussion. Like if they get into a discussion with someone, like they want to win it. Like they want to end up with the last word, and they feel like it's not really fun to talk to you in that sense, because you don't seem to even care. Like you're not actually playing the game. Like you're not, like there's this whole competition going on, and you're not even a part of it. Like you're a competitor in their mind. You're competing against them, but in your mind you're not. You're just having a good time. Like you don't actually see it in that sense or in that way as they see it. Like they see everything as a competition. They see everything as something like where they have to prove, or like they have to prove themselves. They have to they are constantly like fighting for acceptance in some way, and I think it's like you know you're already like you're already accepted. Like you don't really need that acceptance. You have you're just really, you don't. I just think this person would describe you as someone who's not competitive, who doesn't seem to care what other people think, someone who doesn't need to prove yourself, someone who doesn't need other people to like them, that you don't need people to like you, and I think that kind of in a way rubs this person the wrong way, because it's like this person feels like that's maybe not what it's all about. Like so I don't know if with the death reversed, I feel like this person takes things very seriously, whereas I think you just don't have that sense of everything having that much importance, and I think it really comes to like I think you talk about a lot of serious things. Maybe with this person or maybe around this person, but like it's like you you talk about these very, very complicated concepts, and you just do it effortlessly, and you're not doing it to impress anyone. You're just doing it because you like the conversation, and you feel like, and you also want to hear other people's opinions. You want to know what other people think, and you're interested. You're curious about like what other people what conclusions other people have drawn, and what other people have found out, like especially when talking about some philosophical things. Like you want to know what other people have, like what sort of findings other people have found, like and it interests you, and that is why you like to have that sort of conversation with people. But this person is not having that conversation because they want to find out something, or like because they want to, like it's not to broaden their horizon. It's more like they they have a monologue prepared in their mind before they go socialize with people. They have a monologue and they want to just practice it with people. So when they bring up a topic, like a philosophical topic or something else, they just want to do it just to perform that monologue, practice it, see what reaction they get, and then make some twinks and some or not twinks, but like some adjustments to it, and then like just to be better at doing that monologue. Like they are more like focused on what they are saying, and they don't really listen to other people. They just listen to how other people react to what they say. They don't actually listen very closely to what other people have to say, and they only listen to what other people have to say if what other people say can actually benefit them in a way, or give them inspiration to change their own monologue, like the monologue they have prepared inside their mind. Like it's a weird thing, but like they don't have dialogues with people; they have monologues, and I'm not trying to bash this person, but I am sensing that this person is a bit like, I feel like if you ever got in a relationship with this person, I feel like I feel like you would be happy in the future if I think you would be happy to know this about this person in the future. I think I am sensing that this isn't actually someone you want to date. Like if you knew all this about this person, you wouldn't want to date them. And I think this might be like one of those warning videos and or warning readings where there's nothing wrong with this person per se. Like there's nothing. This person is not a bad person. I just don't think you two would be a good match, because I see you as someone who's very dialogue oriented. You like to talk to people. You're very curious, very interested in getting to know other people. Whereas this person is just listening to themselves, and they only ask questions because they want you to ask them the same question. Like they would ask you like, how are you? But they don't want to know your answer. They just want you to ask them so that they can go into great detail about something that happened to them. Like they aren't very. They are a bit self-absorbed. This person seems a bit self-absorbed. They Yeah, but I'm gonna shuffle some of these archetype cards to get a bit more information on how this person would describe you. So how would their crush describe them? Yeah. Okay, so a bit of a prostitute and alchemist. So this person has a lot of respect for you. They see you as an alchemist. The card says transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. And so they see you as very wise, very good at explaining very complex concepts, very good at grasping things that are very, very difficult. And I think this person has been very impressed with you a lot of times where you were able to explain something that they have tried to understand for a long time, and then you explained it in 2 sentences and it just made perfect sense to them suddenly. Like suddenly it just clicked. And I think that has happened a few times when they talk to you, and I think they see you as very, very smart. But there's also the prostitute card, and this card says accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. So it's kind of a positive card. I'm just not really this is what it says, but the imagery, like is of a woman covered in money. So like there's just that I feel like what this card says to me right now is that this person, like, they see you as really, really smart, but they also want to bash you in some way. Like they want to find some kind of weakness. Like they feel like you're too strong, you're too much of a competition to them. They see you as an arch enemy in some way because of the fact that you're a threat to them, because you're smarter than them, and they can't really deal with that. They have a hard time. Like they don't know how to deal with not being on top, like not being the best, or not being like the smartest person in the room, not being the smartest person in the conversation. Like when you two are just two people talking together, they can't take that, because then like there's just you two, and they are still not the smartest person in the room. Like it's like they feel threatened, I think. And they would describe you, like if they were really honest towards someone that they can be completely honest towards, and they should describe you, they would describe you as a threat. I don't know if they would admit it so directly, but that they see you as like, especially if you two study together. Or if you work together, I think this person feels like you're taking their thunder, that you're stealing their thunder, like you're getting more attention than they are, and they don't like that. They feel like they make just as big of an effort as you do, but you are the one getting all the praise for it. And if you two study together, I think this person feels like they work their butt off, preparing for exams. They feel like they are constantly reading and studying, and then like they end up with the same result as you, or even a worse result as you, and they find it very unfair, because they feel like they deserve it more in some sense, because they put in more work, whereas you just seem to be a natural, and they feel like that's unfair, that just some people are just born more intellectual than others, and I think it rubs them the wrong way, and it makes them feel small, and it gives off that you have this big energy, and it makes them feel small. And they also, in that sense, maybe like that, they feel like you're just a big shot, and they can't really stop comparing themselves to you, and it makes them feel less than you. And so they find something to bash you on, and I think the prostitute card can actually mean that, like, if you got a higher grade than this person did, if you two study together, if you got a higher grade, then I think this person might have some kind of paranoid idea in his mind that you somehow were able to get that grade only because you used your body, like that you slept with the professor, or that you flirted with the professor, or that you just dressed provocatively or something, and that's the only reason why you got a better grade than them. But you have to understand that this person does that because this person feels like they feel very insecure around you, and so it's when they feel like they can't compete with you, when they feel like you're up here and they are down here and they can't get up here, because that's not possible for them. They aren't born with the brain for it. They don't have the skills for it. They can't get from here to here because that's just not naturally possible for them. So the only way to equalize you two is to make you get down there with them, and the only way to do that is by bashing you on something, like finding some kind of weakness, something that takes away your achievement and makes it smaller so that you're on level with them. And a way to do that is by saying that your achievement is only something you were able to achieve because you're either a woman, or because you're very, very sensual, or have the looks for it, or that you have some kind of benefit because you slept with a professor or something. So there's that sort of thing, and it's but in a way you could take that as a compliment, because that means that they see you as very, very attractive, and that you can actually use your attractiveness as an advantage, and so that must mean that they actually see you as very attractive. So that's a positive. So but yeah, I kind of want to end the reading on a high note, but I kind of can't really think of anything. Maybe the Gypsy Oracle cards can kind of end this reading on a high note, like something positive, maybe. Like how would this person describe, how would your crush describe you to someone, to lover reversed, and messenger reversed. I think this person would describe you as someone who, because this card here, it's not only lover, it's someone who's serenading a woman, a man who's serenading a woman, and it's reversed. And I think this person would describe you as someone who's not trying to get a date. Like you're not, you don't seem desperate, and maybe you that you're not focused on getting into a relationship, or like that you're not, that you don't like if you do of course this person, like for some of you this person is paranoid enough to think that you slept with a professor, but other than that, they see you as actually quite asexual when you're not actually getting something out of it. That you don't seem like the type of person who seems very interested in love and romance. And if this person has asked you out and you kind of were on the back burner about it, or that maybe you rejected this person in the past, that this might be why they feel like, oh, the only reason why you rejected them must be because you're asexual or something. So it's kind of like a way for them to make themselves feel better about that. With the messenger card reversed, I think this person sees you as someone who is like, they would probably describe you as someone who's not very good at texting, or like that you come across as a bit arrogant, maybe because maybe this person texted you in the past and you didn't really text them back, or like maybe you texted them back very briefly. Maybe you were very busy at some point in the past when this person tried to contact you, and so maybe they see you as someone who is just not they would maybe describe you as someone who doesn't want to answer trivial questions, that you only want to talk about complicated things and like philosophical things or like something like that, but whenever it comes down to something more trivial, like something mundane, you kind of lose interest, and you don't like to do a lot of small talk. Like it might not be your favorite thing to do, because you might find it like a bit time consuming in a negative way, where it's like there's not a, like you would rather have an interesting conversation with people where it's actually about something, where you're actually getting something, and where you feel like your horizons have been broadened afterwards, where you feel like you have gained clarity on something, where you feel like after the conversation you actually are smarter than when you entered the conversation, that you feel like you've received something, and maybe they feel like that's a bit of an insult to not be able to, or to not to just say that you're like that. If you've said to this person that you're not really into small talk, I think this person took that as an insult, or took that as a negative thing, because everybody should do small talk because they are obligated to. Like this person might feel like you can't just you can't, that's a cop out. Like you can't get out of small talk that easily. I don't know. But yeah, but this is what I have for you. This did not end on a high note. I tried, but I failed. So, but yeah. But this is all I have for you, group number 4. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 5. You chose the Herbal Tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 5, the people who will choose group number 5? How would group number 5's crush describe group number 5? How would their crush describe them if they had a conversation with someone that they can be completely honest and direct to? Like, how would they describe group number 5 to that person? How would group number 5's crush describe group number 5 if they could be completely honest and completely direct? How would they describe group number 5? Okay, so I'm sensing that maybe some of you have like ADHD or like something where you're maybe a bit scatterbrained or shatterbrained, like you're like a bit all over the place sometimes, where sometimes your thoughts are like, yeah, like a bit all over the place. I have ADD myself, so like, I can relate. So, so you could have ADHD or ADD, but I feel like your crush might know this about you, or might assume that you have this because you're maybe someone who gets easily distracted, and maybe you also easily distract yourself in a conversation. Like you go from one thing to the next thing, and then you remember something else, and then you go down a side track, and then you like realize that like you've completely gone off topic and have been going off topic for a long time, and then you like try to find your way back to the main topic that you were talking about. And so it's like this person would describe you as a bit all over the place, like a bit like that, but in a cute way. I feel like this person would describe it as very endearing, like it's very like very cute, that and also this person doesn't mind, like they feel like you are very that you're very hard on yourself, like that you shouldn't be so hard on yourself, like you shouldn't apologize all the time. And I feel like there's something coming in about like this person would describe you as someone who constantly apologizes for your own behavior, and that you shouldn't do that, because there's nothing to apologize for, because that's just who you are, and that's how you there's nothing wrong with the way your brain works. It just works differently than everybody else, or than many other people's, but that is also why your brain is original. It comes up with some very original ideas sometimes that really baffles this person. I feel like this person has often like felt like they really learned something new from talking to you, because like you gave them an original perspective on something, like where you were able to turn things upside down and see it from a completely new point of view, like really really interesting. I think this person is quite fascinated by the way your brain works, and how your brain just comes up with some very like very strange like that your brain can somehow create like threads to two things, like binding two things together in a way where like it's not two things that naturally would come together very but it's like you see the similarity between things that for the average person they wouldn't be able to see this similarity, and you're able to compare things to each other that are from completely two different categories that usually don't match, that usually can't be compared, because they have two different compounds that just don't seem to play along together. but you do it so you have an eye for that sort of thing. You can see how you can actually find similarities between like elements of physics with pop music, finding some kind of string, like you can pull strings from like a musical genre to like a character in a cartoon, or like something very very interesting. And I think this person would describe you as fascinating, because it's very fascinating to talk to you, because they never know what to expect. They always feel like they have, like they receive a very original point of view. Like they see kind of the future in you also. Like that sometimes when you talk, like you might come up with some inventions. Like maybe you even do it on the spot. Like you just come up with like some, like if you put these two together, you could maybe create a third thing, and that third thing could then be used for something completely different than these two things would have been used for. Like that you can that you're just a very innovative person. Like you seem to be living in the future, whereas all of us other people seem to be living in the present, and so, or even in the past. Like but you're so I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about how this person, how your crush would describe you. Oh. So now two of swords reversed. I think your crush would describe you as someone who seems to see things very clearly. Like this card, when it's upright, like it's a woman with a blindfold. Reversed, I would interpret it as someone who doesn't have that blindfold. That it seems like you are able to see things a bit more clearly. That maybe also sometimes, like when you're talking about something that other people are so indoctrinated to believe is only like that, like when you might be this like you might be this fresh breath of air, or breath of fresh air, or whatever, like where because you have this ability to see clearly what people are indoctrinated to believe, what things we assume is the truth, because we've been told that our whole life that this is the truth, this is what we're supposed to do, this is what makes sense, this is the best possible way to move around, or to do, like to go about our life. Like that is, we believe that is the only way, because it's the only way that has been presented to us, and it's something we are indoctrinated to believe is the right way. And I think you're very good at questioning whatever we are indoctrinated to believe, and questioning all the truth that we believe is the only possible truth, that there is no other possibility for any other truth, because this is the only one. You're very good at pointing out that maybe it's not so. Like maybe there is like actually another way to do things. Like maybe yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say more about how. There's also something about because this set of cards have a very nice smell. There's some kind of fragrance to it. The cards like some they smell a bit like bubble gum. And I don't know how they like. I think they smelled that way when I bought them. So it's something from the But so I think this person also really likes your smell, and I think they would describe you as someone who smells really good. Like that you smell maybe a bit like bubble gum, or like that you just have a very, very pleasant smell. Could also be incense, but I kind of feel like it's more bubblegum. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably incense, but some kind of incense. But yeah, you could have a perfume that smells a bit like incense, or maybe you burn a lot of incense, so you have like a bit of that smell to you. But it's very nice. It's a very good smell. So with the Queen of Swords, I think I think this I think your crush would describe you as very smart, very witty, very sharp. Like even though you see yourself as like someone who's like constantly getting distracted, you're very sharp though. Like you come up with ideas and opinions and jokes on the spot. Like you're very good at just coming up with an answer very quickly, and yeah. You might even be able to form opinions like on the spot. Like if somebody asks you about something that you didn't have an opinion on before they asked, you're maybe very quick to just form an opinion, like even about things that you don't even know that much about, but like you can come up with something to say, and I think this person finds that very admirable because they themselves are not. I think they have a bit more of a difficult time figuring out like what to say. It's a bit harder for them to figure out what, like even what their opinion is about something. Like if somebody asks them of their opinion about something, even if it's something that they have a very strong opinion about to begin with, like before they get asked that question, they already know the answer, but it's hard for them to get that answer out, like get it articulated in a way where it's just hard for them to get the words out. It's Ace of Pentacles reversed. So I think this person sees you as someone who's maybe not very grounded. Like you're maybe a bit more up in the clouds. Like you're more your brain is everywhere. Like you're a bit like maybe sometimes you don't really notice what's going on around you. Like you're physically there, but mentally you're somewhere else. Like maybe sometimes you get very deep into your thoughts to the point where the people around you could leave and your whole surroundings could change drastically, and you wouldn't even notice. Like you wouldn't notice that everybody's gone suddenly, and that you're sitting there all alone. And then you realize as soon as you've stopped thinking about what you were thinking, then you realize, oh, damn it, everybody's gone. Like, but so I think this person has noticed that sometimes you don't really have a sense of what's going on in your surroundings. You don't realize if people are having a big fight just next to you. Like the two people next to you could have like a very, very, very loud verbal fight with each other, and you're just sitting there not actually noticing what's going on. And also there's something about traffic, like that maybe you're not very good in traffic. Like maybe you've walked around with your crush, or maybe even driven around with your crush, where you were the driver, or like something like that. But I feel like for most of you were probably walking with your crush, and then maybe you were just about to walk out in traffic because you didn't see that there was a red light or like something like that. And so you just started walking across the street, not really realizing that there was a lot of cars driving past. Like, so I think this person would probably describe you as someone who's not very good in traffic, that you're not very observant when it comes to traffic. Like you're not. Sometimes it's like you're walking around with your head under your arm. I'm gonna shuffle some of these archetype cards to get a bit more information on how your crush would describe you. Group number 5. Messiah. So it says serving humanity with humility, and so I think this person sees you as very humble, very like you're very apologetic, and you're like you're kind of and you don't really see how awesome you are. And I think this person, I feel like this person would describe you as someone who just doesn't realize that you're smart, you're super attractive, you're funny, you have all these great great traits that you like. And somehow you keep focusing on the negative, like the things that you can't do, instead of focusing on the things that you can do. And there's a lot of things that you can do that you're very good at, actually. And it's like all of that gets drowned in all the things that you feel like you're limited at because of because you have a diagnosis or something like that. But I think your crush feels like you don't actually have any limitations. I think your crush sees the things that you see as a limitation, they see as a superpower. Like you just have been blessed with a brain that works in the way that it works, like where you get one idea after the other, like, and it's like it just happens so quickly, and not being able to stay on track is not necessarily the curse that you think it is, because sometimes people even get bored with people who are too too fixated on like one topic. Like sometimes it's good to have some change sometimes, where it's actually nice that you go from one topic to the other like really quickly, and then you so and I think they see you as someone who's going to do something great in the future, because you have that, like you are a bit like, yeah, the Messiah, or like you have that thing like Jesus and many of the other big people who made a lot of change in their life. You have the outsider point of view, like you look at the world like you're from the outside, like have that alien like view on the world, like you're not indoctrinated into the world in the same way as everybody else seems to be, like you're not you seem to be more of an outsider, and you could be like an Aquarius or a Libra, or like you have that sort of or a Sagittarius or a Gemini, but like but I'm just sensing that you have that alien like way of looking at the people, where you're not actually looking at them as like one of where you're one of them, like you don't see yourself as one of them, like you observe them as if they were sheep, or if they were like, and then you just look at their behavior and look at like, wait, they are doing this, and that seems weird, that seems strange, because that's not the most efficient way of doing that. And then like you're because you can look at it from the outside, you're an observer looking in, you're not in the eye of the storm, where you can't see the storm because you're inside of it, like you can't see what's wrong when you're inside the eye of the storm, and most humans are inside the eye of the storm. We don't see what's wrong with humanity because we are human and we are one of the humanity, and so we are a part of the problem, and so we don't see what we do wrong, what we don't, so we can't see it very clearly, and so it takes people like you who have the ability to walk outside, or to take a step outside of your humanity, of being human. Take a step outside, observe humanity from the outside in some weird way, and I think your crush sees that you have the ability to do that, and sees that you're gonna do great things because you have this original view on life, on the world, on people, and you're gonna get far. And I think, I feel like your crush would describe you as someone who is gonna do something great in the future, who's potentially gonna save the world or do something that's gonna make a great impact on the world in the future. So, but I think that's all I have for you. Group number 5. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. and have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 6. You chose this Miss Cleo's tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 6, the people who will choose group number 6? How would their crush describe them? How would group number 6's crush describe group number 6? If they could be completely honest and direct about this description, like how would they describe group number 6? How would their crush describe group number 6? How would group number 6's crush describe group number 6? Okay, so I'm sensing that this person sees you as very cute, very nostalgic. Like there's something very nostalgic about, it creates nostalgia in this person when they see you. And I don't know if it's because you dress in a way where it spikes some kind of memories for them. Like I don't know if you have some kind of vintage style, like you might like to wear some clothes from like the 80s or the 90s or something like that, and maybe it reminds them of that time, or reminds them of like something from like maybe them, like I don't know, like it's something that like there's something about you that seems to spark some kind of nostalgia in this person, something that reminds them of their childhood, I think. I don't know if you have some clothes that like maybe you have like a sweater with the Pink Panther, Pink Panther, or something like that, or something like something from that time. From the same time, something from old cartoons. Yeah, something like that. That was just an example, but something in that category. And so, but I'm gonna do some more channeling. So how would this person describe group number 6? Okay, so this person would describe you as someone who's like a bit all over the place, like that you have like some that you have some different interests, and those interests might go a bit like against each other, like that it seems like these like there might be something where like this person would describe it as an oxymoron in some way, where it's like you might label yourself as a this is just an example. I know it's a weird example, but like a practical witch, like where it's a bit of an oxymoron, because what's but it is still but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's an oxymoron for you, but it's just it doesn't really for this person those two things wouldn't come together in a harmonious way. Like there could also be something else, like maybe maybe this person like has seen you like call yourself like a modern witch, or like where it's like still takes like one word that brings us back to the past, and one word that like that seems, but it could also be something else, like that if maybe you've talked about two things, like maybe you've talked to this person about the past, about past lives, like that you think that you remember some of your past lives, where you might have some memories from being another person, having another life, and then maybe you've also told this person that you believe in ghosts or and something like that, and so maybe this person felt like that doesn't make sense, because in their mind these two things can't coexist because they are battling each other. Either there's an afterlife where we get reborn, or there's an afterlife where we get to be a spirit walking the earth. That these two things cannot coexist, and so there's something about something you said that has puzzled this person, where they feel like, well, these two things, like these things doesn't add up, like it doesn't quite make sense to them. They don't really understand what's going on, yeah. Maybe you've also said that you're a Christian, and that you're a Christian, but also like a tarot reader or something, and then maybe people don't understand how somebody can be a Christian and also be a tarot reader, because they feel like Christians are those who are damning tarot cards and being like kind of like, yeah, and then of course there are some Christians who then like might quote the Bible about how it's a sin to tell the future and stuff like that. Of course, it's more Old Testament though, but there's also a lot of other interesting things about curses and fortune telling in the Old Testament, where the Old Testament is not really being clear about whether it's actually a bad thing or a good thing. So it's of course there's a lot of things where prophecy is of course a big thing in the Old Testament. So it's but then like there's that one quote I know, like I don't really remember where it's like where the quote is, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not. We don't have to talk about the Bible. But yeah, there might be something where where your crush feels like it's a bit weird that you're into two things, that you have two belief systems or two interests or opinions that seem to be conflicting with each other, or like not that in this person's mind they can't coexist. But with the 8 of coins, this person sees you as someone. This person would describe you as a hard worker, someone who's very busy. Someone who also keeps themselves busy. That you're very good at, like you're not the type of person who gets bored, because whenever you get bored, you always find something to do. So you never have that problem of boredom, because you always come up with some idea or something interesting to do. Like you always have very good ideas for like if you're in like some kind of summer house or something like that, and you're with some friends and they don't know what to do, or like they feel bored, then you're maybe the one who says like, we could maybe play a board game or something. And so maybe you are the one coming up with the suggestions, and maybe your crush has noticed that you're the doer, that you're the active one, you're the one who actually comes up with the solution. Like if people have a problem, you find the solution. You're a fixer. And you're not afraid of doing too much. That you don't seem lazy. And with the High Priestess reversed, I think this person sees you as someone who well, I don't know if this person is like a non-believer, but this person, like if you have been open about astrology or something spiritual with this person, where you've maybe analyzed their natal chart or something like that, I think this person felt like that was a lot of bullshit, or that nobody can tell them who they are based on how the star constellation was back when they were born. Like that's just about a lot of mumbo jumbo in their mind, and so maybe maybe they would describe you as someone who believes in some stuff that's a bit strange in their mind. Like they don't really get it, they don't really believe in the same things that you believe in. But I feel like they I don't know, like it's like they might see you as a bit of a phony in a way, where it's not that they don't but it's maybe because of those things that they didn't like. I think it is because you said something to them where you maybe explained that you were into astrology, but then you might have also said that you're you're into some other thing, that where they felt like, what is it? Like, are you an astrologer, or are you a or are you a tarot reader, or are you a fortune teller, or like that somehow this person feels like you should pick one, whereas I feel like that's a weird mindset, like that's a weird way to look at it. But I think this person just wants people to be either or, like either you're a tarot reader, or you're a clairvoyant, or you're an astrologer, or like, because it somehow, like they don't feel like one person can be all those things at once, because then they think that the person is a bit of a phony, especially like also like if you're a tarot reader but also a Reiki healer and an energy healer, and you're also an astrologer, and you also do personality analysis with personality tests and Enneagram personality tests and stuff like that. And if you do all those things, like all of these things actually make complete sense. I think most of the people who are in the spiritual world have interest in all these categories. Like it's not. It's very rare for someone in the spiritual community to only have one interest and just sticking with that one interest. Like we all have a bit of a broader sense of like what, like I think that's very common. So, but for whatever reason, this person believes that a person should just pick one and then just be that, and then they are that, and then that's it. So it's, I don't know. I feel like this person would have oh God, I'm so sorry to. I don't know if I should say this, but like this seems like the type of person who would probably go to an astrologer, but only if it was a guy. Because somehow this person would be more like this person would respect it more if it was a guy who was an astrologer, and they went to that guy and got their natal chart analyzed, because then they would kind of have more respect for it. Also, they would have more respect for anyone just calling themselves an astrologer. And they feel like men are better at specifying what they do. This person could have some, male chauvinistic tendencies. I'm sorry to point that out, but I feel like this person feels like women always have too many things. Like they do too many different things, and they don't specify. They don't specify their field, and they're not good. That this person feels like women are not good at finding their niche and then sticking to it, and then becoming an expert in just one thing. Whereas men are this person feels like men are better at just choosing one thing and then sticking to it and becoming an expert, and so they believe more in men who call themselves astrologers or tarot readers or whatever, because then they know that that's the only thing they do, and that they are an expert at that one thing. So I don't know. But I'm gonna shuffle some of these archetype cards to get a bit more information on how this person would describe you. There's also something about professionalism where I feel like this person might feel like you, like, that sometimes you don't dress professionally, like when you're at your job or when you're at work, or like or at your school or whatever. I don't know, that there's something, like, I think this person sees nostalgia. Like for some of you, there's the nostalgia aspect where this person kind of likes it, but they also feel like it might be a bit childish, or it might not be professional enough, or that like if you wear socks that have like images on them, like that isn't professional, or I don't know, like this person has some weird things that they have very strong opinions about. Like this person could be the type of person who believes that the only right type of socks to wear is white socks, and everyone who wears other color socks are just being unprofessional and are just sending the wrong message to people. Like, there's, I don't know, it's a weird, very limited way of looking at the world. But yeah, I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have, what these archetype cards have to say about how this person would describe you. Okay, so with a blank card, I think this person would probably say that they don't really know you that well, like that they don't really know who you are, like that they only know like how you're presenting yourself, but they don't they haven't gotten you figured out yet. And so this person seems to be the type of person who likes to figure people out, and that's also why they pay so strong attention to details, like things that people say, like small things people say, and then they kind of hold these things against them. Like this person is looking more for flaws in people, and they do it to everyone, so it's not just you. But I think this person has like tried to find like holes in your stories, like kind of like when you talked about spirituality, they tried to like find like something that proved that you're actually not the real deal, like that you're just a phony like everybody else. Like this person might have a very strong opinion about the spiritual community, and this person might label everyone as a fake. So this person has been trying to do that towards you too. Like they have been very skeptical, I think. But there is a sexual tension here. Weirdly enough, there's a sexual tension. Like this person seems to be attracted to you, but there is a bit of a no. Like there's something about where this. I don't know if this person is in a relationship, but I'm sensing that there's like some kind of unforbidden, that these feelings are a bit forbidden. I mean, like that there's something forbidden here where it's kind of interesting. Like they are interested in you. They kind of want to get to know you, and they want to ask you a lot of questions. Like they have all these questions prepared. I feel like they ask you a lot. Like when they talk to you, they want to know stuff. Like they're gathering information about you, and it's like the only reason why they do that is because there is some, like they are interested. Like there is a strange kind of I don't know, but this person is also trying to like find things about you that proves that you're not a good match for them, so that this forbidden sexual tension can kind of go away. So I think they are also trying to find things that they don't like about you, because in a way they know that this cannot happen. Like you can't actually have sex because somebody's going to get mad if you did. So there's that sort of thing. I'm going to shuffle some of these Gypsy Oracle cards to get a bit more information on how your crush would describe you. Okay, so with the Scholar card reversed, I think this person would describe you as someone who's not in that. I don't know if you're in between things right now, or if you went to if you started an education but then you dropped out. Maybe you started in the university and then you dropped out, or something like that. Or maybe you, yeah. So, and I think maybe this person feels like you should maybe drop what you're doing right now if you're doing something spiritually, like if you are working as a tarot reader or an astrologer or something like that. I think this person wants you to go back to school and do something real, like because I think this person doesn't think of your job as a real job. I think they only think like real that you can only get a real job if you have the proper education for it, or something like, or like if you go through the educational system and do it in the right way and get a degree and whatever. So yeah, I think there is maybe also like some kind of like this person might be a bit of a snob, and maybe this person comes from a family of snobs where they have been like kind of raised with the belief that everyone who doesn't have an education is less important in some way. I don't know, like lesser of, or lesser than them, or like that there's just a bit of a stigma to it, like that it's because there's something wrong with them, or like and so this person doesn't realize that some people just have different paths, and for some people the right path for them is to do something else, like something that you can't get a like that where you can't get a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in that because it's just not available. Maybe it will be in the future, who knows, like but at the moment, yes, that the alternative healing and like the alternative like the alternative practices are not really a part of the conventional educational system, and so but this person doesn't this person doesn't see it as valid because it's not the right way. It's that you should do something like becoming a nurse or becoming a teacher or becoming like something where that this person sees as more impressive, more proper in some way, like I don't know, but yeah. But I think that's all I have for you, group number 6. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one, and have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 7. You chose the Alcohol Tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 7, the people who will choose group number 7? How would their crush describe them? If they could be completely honest and direct, how would they describe group number 7? How would group number 7's crush describe group number 7? funny. I'm sensing that that this person would describe you as a fireball, like a very funny person, very like very bright, very but also very like very fun to be around, like very very entertaining, very very good company, someone who's very fun to go to a party with. Like you always make sure that people are having a good time around you, and you also seem to always have a good time when you're out, like when you go to a party, like you also don't hesitate to like make a fool out of yourself. I know that sounds negative, but this person is meaning it in the best way possible. Like that you're not afraid of how people perceive you. Like you're like, if you want to dance on the table, you do that, even if some people might see that as too much, or like you're not preoccupied with what everybody thinks of you. You're not afraid of being too loud, or like or say too much, or like that and I think they just see you as just very, very good company. They would they seem to want to spend more time with you. I feel like for some of you, this person really misses you. So I don't know if it's been a while since you last talked to this person. But if it has been a long time since you talked to this person, I think they miss you. They want to talk to you again. They want to get contact with you again. They feel like it's been too long. It's a shame that you're not an active part of their life, right? But that's specifically for some of you. It might not be for all of you, but yeah, this person wants to spend more time with you. They feel like you're very liberated, like you're so free from concern and from other people's judgment, that like that you're free to be whoever you want to be. Like you don't let people dictate who you are. Like you don't let people make you feel bad about yourself, and you don't listen to people when they criticize something about you, or like that. You seem to be so comfortable with yourself and comfortable in your own skin, and you don't give a fuck what other people say, or what other people think of you, because it doesn't concern you. Because you know who you are, and you don't need anybody to tell you, because you already know. And I think this person is just like, this person just sees you as like very courageous. Like you dare to do things that they wouldn't dare to do. Like you seem fearless. Maybe you've talked about how you have anxiety, and this person just felt like that makes absolutely no sense to them, because they see you as so strong, and like you don't seem like the person who struggles with anything. And maybe it's because you're very good at putting up a front and acting like you're very bold, and like that you're not afraid of anything, and like and maybe on the inside you're just screaming out of like fear and like, but you're very good at making it seem like you're just a professional, and you've tried everything. You've tried it a lot of times. Like you might have some kind of I don't know, like when you have to do something that you haven't done before, you might say to people that, oh, it's nothing, like that's easy peasy, like and then it is actually easy peasy, but actually you haven't tried it before. It was just a lucky guess, or like or maybe you're just so intuitive, really, that you just know exactly what the outcome is going to be. Maybe you have some claircognizance where maybe you know the future, or you know the immediate future, like what's going to happen the next, like in the time frame of the next 10 minutes or something like that. And so you can see in the future, but maybe only the next 10 minutes, but then again, you see those next 10 minutes very, very clearly. So it's actually a very big advantage. So sometimes it's not necessarily about the range or like how far out in the future we can see, like, because it doesn't actually concern us necessarily how to see too far out in the future. Sometimes that's just all we need, is just the next 10 minutes, because then we know what, like, that is actually a big advantage to have. So but yeah, so 8 of Wands, I feel like people see you as or this person sees you. This person could have other friends, like your crush could have other friends who also know you. So the way they would describe you is maybe also close to how the other friends would describe you, because maybe they have talked about you together before. And so maybe this person has already kind of talked about you and described you in a way but I think the way is that the way this person has described you, I think, because I feel like this person has already described you before, and the way this person would describe you is that, or has already described you, whatever, is that you're very quick to come up with a comeback. You're very, like, you always know what to say. You're very quick to make a joke. Like you're very fun to be around, because you have these, like, you think on the spot. You think on your feet. You just come up, like you talk a bit before you think, but when you talk before you think, it's actually better than what would have, like, because it's like you're very good at trusting your first intuition and just saying like whatever comes into your mind, like at first, before it gets corrupted by all by your experience and memories and other things that sometimes come into play when, like, sometimes the first answer to a question is the best one, because that's the one that's not corrupted by by bigotry, or like by indoctrinated beliefs, and it's often the more pure answer, and it's often the same answer as everybody else thinks of the first. Like, so that's also why people find it so funny. Like if someone says like the first thing that comes to their mind, people usually like that person, because that person is saying exactly what they thought about the first. Like, because we all usually we see this. I have this, I don't know, but I have a theory that, like, our first impression of things, the way we think of a thing, like the first time we think of it, is the collective. It's what everybody thinks, and then we take time to form an opinion about it, and then we corrupt that idea. But the first idea or the first thought is usually very purely the collective, and so when we talk before we think, we usually say what is on everybody else's mind, and so that is why those people are very lovable. People who talk before they think, but I feel like that you might have a tendency to do that, and it's really not an insult because it's a very good thing. It's good to be able to be so authentic and talk directly into the I don't know. I'm gonna shuffle a bit more to get a bit more information on what people. Sorry, I keep saying people. Like what your crush. I don't know if maybe you're asking about a crush, but you're kind of, maybe you're not. I don't know if you're thinking of numerous people right now, or if you might not even have a crush in mind, and so maybe you just wanted to watch this video even though you don't actually have an actual crush. Maybe you have somebody that you kind of like and could see yourself dating maybe, but you're not really sure. Then maybe that's why I'm not really getting the crush part. And I've done six readings before doing this one, where I did not have a problem asking about what the crush, how the crush would describe them. So that's an issue that I only have with this pile, and it's the last pile. So this must have some kind of importance. This detail must have some kind of significance. I don't know, but yeah, I have to think about that. But with the 9 of Wands, this is 9 of Cups. I think your crush or this person that you're asking about, or people in general, but they see you as someone who has I feel like your crush sees you as someone who has a lot of achievements, but that you don't let it, you never seem like someone who has all those achievements. You might have won some trophies, or won some big awards or something. Maybe you had some maybe you've gotten a lot of praise from people higher up, or something where it's everybody else would let that get to their head in some way, they would end up with their head up in the clouds, and they would be all they would be feeling themselves more. And I think this, your crush feels like you're very good at downplaying yourself and not actually being arrogant. You're not arrogant. You don't seem like like you're better than everybody else. Like you're not trying to impress anyone. You're not. You don't even have. Maybe you don't even mention it when you like. Maybe you're also like for some of you, you might be a member of Mensa, but you never bring it up in a conversation. You wouldn't do that because you feel like that would be too cringy to do. Like that's just a weird thing to brag about. Like, and I feel like you don't like to brag. And I think your crush has noticed that you don't feel the need to brag. You don't. You're very humble, and you're just very funny. And you don't have to be intellectually funny, even though you could be. Like you could easily be intellectually funny and make very clever jokes, but you don't have any problem with making jokes that are a bit childish or a bit like you're not trying to impress people with your jokes. You're just trying to have a fun time, good time. You're not afraid of making dad jokes, even though they are very, very silly. But it's just funny. It's just you just want to get cheap laughs. Like you don't want to make jokes where people have to really think about it and where half of them get it and then the other half will get it maybe a few years from now. Like that's not gonna like benefit the here and now. Like it's not. It's just like yeah. But I think this person finds you very funny, very fun to be around, very easygoing, very direct, very honest, very authentic, very good at just being yourself and being an unfiltered version of yourself where you're not trying to be somebody else, you're not mimicking other people, you're not pretending to be something you're not, you're just being completely you without any sort of manipulation. And I think your crush finds that amazing. Okay, so engineer, it says ability to give creative energy, a practical expression, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. So this person sees you as very smart. This person sees you as someone who's able to just to give creative energy, a practical expression. So you have like the double side to you, where you're like usually people think that, or usually people are like either or, like either they are practical or they are creative, but you seem to be like this beautiful symbiosis of the two. Like you're both like you have creative energy and you can be. You have also an innovative way of looking at things. Very like you're down to earth, but you're still up in the clouds. It's like you're, but you're not up in the clouds in the way where I used that sentence before, so that's a bit confusing, but like I meant it in two different ways. I don't know if you can actually use it in two different ways, but like not up in the clouds in the way where like you're full of yourself, but that you're maybe that you can both be like very airy and like think about like philosophical things and like hard concepts like that, but also go down to earth and like talk about like practical topics, like mechanical topics, like maybe you are an engineer, and so maybe that's also. But even if you're not, then I think this person sees you as someone who's just very, very smart, but very downplayed. Where you're not, when you're not bragging, you're still fun to be around. Like, you're not one of those who over intellectualizes a conversation just because you can. Like, you would rather just talk about titties and beer, and that wouldn't take anything from you to engage in a conversation like that, because, like, even though you might have like a very high degree, you might have a PhD in something extremely hard, but that doesn't make you boring. It doesn't make you incapable of going down and talking about topics, mundane trivial topics like that. You're good at that too. Like, you're good at talking about everything, and you're good at talking to different people and finding a common denominator in all conversations that you have. Like, talking to someone, I think you could have a very interesting conversation with a homeless person on the street, or like children. I think you're also like good at talking to children and talking about toys and Legos and Barbie dolls, and like it doesn't always have to be like about, like, just because you have spent a lot of time getting to expert level at something doesn't mean that that's the only thing you can talk about. And I think your crush is sometimes is somehow very impressed that it seems like you can talk about everything in the world. Like, you're not limited to just one topic. You can talk about everything. You can talk about Care Bears and like, you can there's no limitation. You can talk about grass. You can talk about helicopters. You can talk about like hair products, dogs, like anything. Like, you can find something interesting in any conversation, and you seem also very naturally curious about anything people talk about. Like even if it, like, and that's the thing. Like, you never seem to get bored. Like, because you entertain yourself. Like, if you get bored in a conversation, you find something interesting to ask, because you know that you're the creator of your own happiness, and you're a creator of your own joy. And if you're getting bored with something, you know that the only way to get out of that is just by asking something interesting, and you can even find something interesting to ask about. Like, even if the topic is dogs, and maybe you have maybe you read some article about breeding dogs, and then you can maneuver the conversation so that it's about breeding instead of maybe what it was originally about, but then you find that common denominator, that thing that you have in common with people, and you seem to have a lot in common with people. And I think your crush has noticed that it's like you have an actual interest in everything, that there's nothing that you can't talk about because you feel like that's too boring. Like, there is no such thing as too boring for you, because you can always find something fascinating within any field. And I think this person is just impressed with that because this person, I feel like this is someone who has more of a crush on you than you have on them, and I think you already kind of know that. And maybe you're kind of humoring the possibility, or entertaining the idea of maybe going out with this person, mostly because you know already that this person has feelings for you. Maybe you should ask yourself if you have feelings for them too, because it's not just enough. Because again, you do seem to have interest in everything topic-wise, and maybe you also have this thing where you feel like you can actually fall in love with anyone because it just takes time. Like if you just have all the time in the world, then you could find something to love about another person, and that everybody could become a fit with time if you just get to know them, because maybe you have a belief system that we are all the same on the inside, and that we just have to get to the core of every person, and and that is a very beautiful idea. Like I think it's like it's also like a lot of like those kind of cliche movies. There was a lot of them in like the 90s. A lot of movies about odd friends who are complete opposites and who hate each other, have nothing in common, and don't like each other at first, and then then towards the end of the movie, they've realized that, like, after they've spent a lot of time, like, they usually get isolated into like some kind of scenario where they have to get to know each other and they have to help each other to get through something, and then like through that process of getting to know each other, they actually realize that they have much more in common than they originally thought. And I think in a way you could take that theory of everybody that everybody can become friends over time if they just get isolated and somehow spend a lot of time together. Then they will realize that they have a lot in common, and then they will find the common denominator between them, and they will bond over something and become friends. And I think you could actually put that theory into dating too. And I think I kind of agree with some of you who have this sentiment, but that actually you could date anyone, and if you just spend a lot of time with that person, you would form a connection and you would form a bond, and you would fall in love at some point, just because you've spent so much time with that person, gotten to know them inside and out, and that would it kind of makes sense. But I think there is also I think you should be careful not that you don't choose somebody just because they are interested in you, because you're kind of taking the power away from yourself, or like you're kind of robbing yourself from that power of being the one choosing. And I don't think people necessarily need to be the one choosing, because of course not. I don't know. It's a complicated thing. But I feel like maybe don't choose someone just because it's the safe bet, because you know that other person is into you, even though I think this person that you have in mind is actually quite a nice person, and I don't actually see any red flags, and this person seems to be interested in you, and to the point where I know it, you know it, so So there is really no risk there, but again, there's also the saying that like the bigger the risk, the better the reward, and so maybe this is too safe. That, of course, there's also a problem with only going for the people who are risky, or like the risky choices is not necessarily all that good either. But I feel like my point is that maybe you should ask yourself, are you actually interested in this person because you like their personality, because you have a true made a true choice of choosing them over everybody else? Or are you only interested in this person because they have shown interest in you, and you have like humored the idea and gotten and ended up with the conclusion that this person is not half bad, so maybe it could be fun to see it out. If that's the case, then maybe you have tried to make them. I think that is like sometimes when we feel like a person is interested in us, we try to see the positive instead of the negative. We try to make them fit into what we want. We try to kind of force them into a box where we wouldn't actually have forced them into that box if they hadn't showed interest. And if you are on Tinder, then I feel like this is a problem where like when you don't pay for Tinder, you just swipe, and I think that is a good thing to just swipe, because when we pay for a membership, then we can see who liked us, and when we can see that, then we end up liking some people that we wouldn't have liked if we had just been swiping normally, because we start looking at their profiles and try, but okay, so this person has a degree in this, okay, that's interesting, but normally you would have just swiped left right away, because there was something about them that just didn't click with your intuition. And so it's I think take the power. Don't choose the people who are safe bets. Take control over your own search for and go chasing instead of being the one chased. Just go out and chase a person that you are interested in, like that you would choose over everybody else. And even though maybe it's a long shot, but then like at least it was your power, it was in your control. I think it was your intuition telling you that person is more right for you than everybody than all the others. Like so there's that sort of thing where it's the first intuition, not an afterthought. Whereas I feel like when we only go for the people that are interested in us, it's more like an afterthought. We start making them fit instead of like, yeah. But I'm just repeating myself now. But yeah, I don't know where I was or what I was trying to say, or like where I was going. But like I think this was it. I think I don't have any more for you. Group number 7. I hope this reading was somewhat helpful. And if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye.